Everybody, Rich with PrepU down here in the family room. As the title of this video will tell you, we are going to be discussing Illinois House Bill 5855, and this is part one. There's a lot in this, so I wanted to get out the information of kind of a synopsis of what is this bill. That's going to be step one. Step two is going to be how to file witness slips in regards to this bill. And then three, the third part of this is we're going to get into the meat of the bill. We're really going to look at what firearms are listed, what accessories are listed, and what they mean by magazines or firearms that can be belt fed and other items. We're going to get into that meat. That's part three. Like I said, part two is witness slips. And then this one, we're just going to go over the bill. I'm just bringing it to your attention that it's out there, when it was put forth, what's going on with it now, and then, like I said, a brief overview and who's putting this forward and why I believe they're putting it forward. There's a lot of reasons why they're putting it forward. But anyhow, so let's get into this bill. This is a copy. This is two-sided. There are a total of 69 pages in this bill. But really, most bills like this, if you just looked at like 5 or 6 pages, you get the gist of how good or bad it is. But this bill was brought forward. The main person was Representative Bob Morgan. I believe Bob Morgan's from Deerfield. Mr. Morgan happened to be at the Highland Park massacre last Christmas during the Christmas parade, and I'm assuming that he wasn't a gun advocate to begin with, but this kind of solidified. And not being there, not, I don't know, maybe, his conviction is, where his heart is. So I have to give him that. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the middle of it. He heard the gunshots, saw what went on. But he brought it forward, and the other House sponsors are LaShawn K. Ford, Barbara Hernandez, and Mariah Hirschhauser. I apologize if I destroyed your name. They are the ones that are listed as the House sponsors. Last action I have here is 12/1/2022. It was referred to the Rules Committee, and from what I understand from looking at the internet, that committee hearing was canceled, but that a comment from Mr. Morgan was that he wants to get it to committee and up for discussion ASAP, which is another reason if what I read to you don't like, you need to get those witness slips in ASAP. You don't have to wait for me to do the video on witness slips, although I will be doing that in the next couple of days. There are plenty of videos on YouTube about how to file witness slips. You could also go to the Facebook page, Illinois Concealed Carry, and they will let you know. There's all kinds of stuff going on about House Bill 5855, about what you can do and what's in it. So for my subscribers and other people that are going to watch, I want to just give you my take and read this bill to you. So here is, and most of these bills you'll see, there's the paperwork, you'll see the title, and then they'll have a synopsis. So I'm going to read that entire synopsis to you, okay? So it says synopsis as introduced. Okay, this is what they said when they introduced the bill. Amends the Illinois State Police Law of the Civil Administrative Code of Illinois. Provides that the Division of Criminal Investigation of the Illinois State Police shall conduct other investigations as provided by law, including, but not limited to, investigations of human trafficking, illegal drug trafficking, and illegal firearms trafficking. Provides that the Division of Criminal Investigation shall provide statewide coordination and strategy pertaining to firearms-related intelligence, firearms trafficking and interdiction, and investigations. Amends the Firearm Owner Identification Card Act, eliminates provisions that permits a person under 21 years of age who is not an active duty member of the United States Armed Forces or the Illinois National Guard to obtain a firearm owner's identification cards, even with parental consent. Amends the Wildlife Code, provides that when a person under 21 years of age is hunting under the supervision of an adult, the adult must possess a firearm owner identification card. Amends the Firearms Restraining Order Act, provides that the state's attorney of the county where the petition is filed may act as a friend of the court in an action filed under this act. Provides that a petitioner may request a 1-year rather than a 6-month firearm restraining order. Amends the Criminal Code of 2012. Makes it unlawful to manufacture, deliver, sell, or purchase, or cause to be manufactured, delivered, sold, or purchased, or caused to be possessed by another, an assault weapon attachments, 50 caliber rifle, or 50 caliber cartridge. Makes it unlawful for any person to knowingly possess an assault weapon, a 50 caliber rifle, or 50 caliber cartridge 300 days after the effective date of the amendatory act, except possessions of weapons registered with the Illinois state in the time provided. Provides exemptions and penalties, prohibits the manufacture, delivery, sale, purchase, or possession of large capacity ammunition feeding devices, defines terms, provides exemptions and penalties, makes other changes, and effective immediately, basically once Pritzker would sign it. And this act may be referred to as the Protect Illinois Communities Act. So there you go. That's the synopsis. What we're going to do, I'm not going to get into the meat of it, but I'm just going to go through some of this. And there'll be some pauses during this because I'm flipping pages and stuff and looking at stuff. But it's just easier, instead of me trying to just throw stuff off the top of my head by going through the synopsis, going through the whole bill. A section scheduled to be repealed on June 1st, 2026 is the Commission on Implementing the Firearms Restraining Order Act. And that includes implementing a commission on the Firearms Restraining Order Act with 12 members, and it discussed who the 12 members are. Let's see. Basically says the commission shall develop a model policy with an overall framework for the timely relinquishment of a firearm. And that's if you go against this new, if this bill becomes a law and it changes different things about what type of firearm you can own, and if you owned it before, if you didn't register with the state, and they know that you had that firearm, how they're going to come after you. Whenever a firearm restraining order is issued, it would be either for that, or if you are if your FOID card is revoked, not your CCL card, because you can lose your CCL card and not lose your FOID card. All right, but if you lose your FOID card, then there's ways of going after your, getting the firearms that you own, or making sure that you give those firearms over to someone else who has a FOID card, a valid FOID card, and has some way of securing those firearms, or give them to the state police or local police for them to hold on to for the time being, or you can give them to an FFL. Now, I'm not exactly sure how that giving to an FFL is going to work. Obviously, the FFL doesn't have, unlimited amount of safes. We don't have any at Range USA that we could lock up somebody's firearm for whatever the restraining order is, the year or whatever. And I'm sure even if they did, there'd be a fee. So you got to think about that. So the model policy shall be finalized within the first 4 months of convening. And it doesn't give an exact date about how soon the commission needs to act. Um, but but it says once approved, the Illinois State Police shall work with local law enforcement agencies, which they're supposed to be doing now. When somebody loses a FOID card, the Illinois State Police are supposed to get a hold of local law enforcement. In the Aurora shooting at the factory there, that kind of fell apart. Don't know where it fell apart. I don't personally know where it fell apart. Maybe some of you know where it fell apart. That the gentleman that did the shooting, he did lose his FOID card, but for some reason, either the state police didn't notify Aurora in a timely manner. They told Aurora, and Aurora didn't um, jump on it. I don't know, or was that Joliet? I'm not sure. It's one of those anyhow, but that's how it's supposed to work. So, state police and local law enforcement agencies within their county to design a comprehensive strategy for the timely relinquishment of firearms. How they're going to do it. I would assume that would be very deadly for police officers to have to go to somebody's house and ask for their firearms. I don't think that would be very fun. I know a lot of times they bring the marshals in to help them, and that's why you see that they are fully body armored, and they're come weapons drawn because they don't know what they're going to run into. Kind of like a domestic that my father, who was a police officer, used to hate getting involved in. It also talks about in the firearm owner identification card rule, the application for firearm owners identification cards will change. And basically what that is, they're talking about no one under the age of 21 will be able to get a FOID card unless they are in the armed forces or if they are in the Illinois State National Guard. All right, let's flip through a few things because a lot of this law is just in this law. It's you can see where they're replacing other sections of other laws. Okay, regarding different things. So that's, and then it also gets into enhancing who cannot get a FOID card. And specifically talks about people that have restraining orders, people that have been accused of, or not accused of, but charged with aggravated domestic battery, somebody that's adjudicated to not be mentally fit to speak for themselves and to have a firearm, which makes a lot of sense because I think that's a very good section of this to be increased. Section 15, the Firearm Restraining Order Act, is amended by changing sections 10, 40, 45, and 55. And section 10 is commencement of action or procedure, how to start that restraining order. Section 40, they changed the petitioner's request from 6 months to 1 year minimum firearms restraining order. Let's see. And then it goes into everything you have to do to comply with the restraining order and what happens if it's false. If someone claims that you should have the restraining order, what happens to them? It's a felony if they file falseness. It says what you can do to get that restored and get back. Section 45 is the termination and renewal of that restraining order and the renewal of your FOID card. It goes into all that and getting back your firearms. All right, then let's see. Then it goes into the Apprentice Hunter License Program, Section 3.1-5. And that is when a licensee is hunting with a firearm under the supervision of a resident adult who is 21 years of age or older, the adult must possess a valid firearm card. And anyone under 21 has to apply for the Apprentice Hunter License Program, and then they can get a safe, I think it's, what is it? Safe Hunter's Permit or something like that. I don't hunt in the state of Illinois, so I apologize. I only hunt in Michigan. And then section 3.1-9, youth hunting and trapping licenses. So before a youth under 18 years of age shall take or attempt to take any species protected under section 2.2 of the code, they must possess a valid youth hunting and trapping license. So that's new. The fee for the hunting and trapping license is $7. And it goes into that when they're out there hunting, they have to be with somebody that has a FOID card. So and then we move over to the Criminal Code 2012 is amended by changing sections 24-1 and by adding sections 24.1.9. These are the good ones. And 24.10. So 24.1, they changed some of the wording in unlawful use of a weapon, and they just go into every single little weapon, like a bludgeon or a blackjack or a slung. So they call it slungshot. I've never heard that. Sand club. It just goes on knuckle weapon, throwing stars, and stuff like that. They go into all the different things and how you can do it. If it's done in person, if it's done from a vehicle, if it's done from a distance, is he carrying it or possesses it? And then they go into, uh, having firearms or tasers, that are active or broken down or not working. They go into the definitions of all that stuff. They talk about spring guns, machine guns, rifles with one or more barrels, bomb shells, grenades, bottles, or other containing explosive substances within that. And then they talk about, carries or possessing a weapon if you don't have a CCL card. They enhance some of the stuff for that. They talk about the Firearm Concealed Carry Act and some of the changes to that, and what someone that has a concealed carry card can have with them and what's covered under their license. They enhance some of that stuff, and they talk about tools and accessories and all that you're allowed to have. Let's see, then we keep flipping here, and they talk about then they get into what if you violate these sections, what class of felony, class 3, class 4, class X. And they talk about what happens when you carry, where you're not supposed to. We know you're not supposed to carry in, even if you have a CCL, public transportation or at parks or nuclear facilities, courts, schools, different stuff like that, in your vehicle, on your person, walking. All right. Then we get to section 24-1-9, and that is specifically the manufacture, possession, delivery, sale, and purchase of assault weapons, 50 caliber rifles, and 50 caliber cartridges. In this section, they go into what's an assault pistol, what's an assault rifle or shotgun. They actually list shotguns and assault modern sporting rifles, right? Can we call them that? Assault weapons, assault pistols. What they are, they actually list models and stuff like that. And when they're talking about is that you cannot engage in the selling, manufacturing, any business to do with any of these items if this bill passes, okay, and signed by the governor. It's just a page after page. An assault weapon means an assault shotgun or rifle, an assault pistol, a semi-automatic center-fire rifle that can accept a detachable magazine that it has at least one of the following. Then they go into what are those following. We're not going to get into that now. We can talk about that. I'm going to do that later, a whole thing about that. But the funny thing about this is we all know this. If we go back to school, if we go back to high school, maybe even junior high, you cannot define a word and use the word that you're defining in the definition of the word. It just doesn't work. You cannot do that. And that's what they do in section 3, which is assault weapon means an assault shotgun or rifle or an assault pistol. You don't even answer the question. So there's a lot of reading this, and I'm not even an attorney. Okay, I did take law classes, obviously, but it doesn't make any sense. So anyhow, so then they go into what constitutes a semi-automatic centerfire rifle that can accept a detachable magazine and has at least one of the following. We'll get into that at some point, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on about, what assault weapon, what is assault weapon, what is a 50 caliber rifle, what's a cartridge, and none of this includes rim fire. This is center fire only. All right, they've kept 22s out of this totally, which is interesting. So then it goes into on section E. This section does not apply to a person who possessed an assault weapon or 50 caliber rifle prohibited by the subsection D of this section before the effective date of this amendatory act of the 102nd General Assembly. If the person has provided in a registration affidavit under oath or affirmation and in the form and manner prescribed by the Illinois State Police on or after 180 days after the effective date of this amendatory act of the 102nd General Assembly, but within 300 days after the effective date of this amendatory act of the 101st General Assembly. Basically, what they're going to, if it passes, they're going to ask if you own these firearms, if you own any of this stuff, they're going to ask for you to fill out a form between 180 days when the governor signs it to 300 days from when he signs it. You will fill out an affidavit with your name, date of birth, firearm owner identification card, all of the makes, models, calibers, and serial numbers of any weapon that falls into this category, and have proof of a locking mechanism that properly fits each of the firearms. Okay? Basically, they want you to register your firearms that you have, and that includes what they consider an assault weapon, and that also includes any firearm that has a magazine that can hold more than 10 rounds. Okay? And working in a firearm store, I know that that's probably most of our firearms can handle more than 10 rounds. Other than that, you're talking conceal, you're talking compact, subcompact, pistols. So obviously it does not handle revolvers. Okay, those are good. Then we go on to the change, all right, in the Criminal Code of 2020. So the affidavit form shall include the following statement printed in bold type. Warning. Entering false information on this form is punishable as perjury under Section 32-2 of the Criminal Code of 2012. So they've added that because they're adding the other section. All right. So I don't know if I'm going to read this one right, but here we go. Beginning 300 days after the effective date of this amendatory act of the 102nd General Assembly, the person with a registered assault weapon or 50 caliber rifle may transfer that assault weapon or 50 caliber rifle only to an heir, that's one, an individual residing in another state maintaining it in another state, that's two, or a dealer licensed as a federal firearm dealer, three. All right. Within 10 days after the transfer of the weapon, except to an heir, the person shall notify the Illinois State Police of the name, address of the transferee and comply with the requirements of subsection B of Section 3 of the Firearm Owner Identification Card Act. The person to whom the weapon is transferred shall, within 60 days of the transfer, complete an affidavit and pay the required registration fee under this section. So, if you sell it to somebody out of state or you send it to an FFL, you will fill out an affidavit that you did sell that to and who you sold it to and what you sold them to. Then that person that purchased it from you will then also have to fill out an affidavit that, yes, I did buy that, and send that to the state. So that would be someone outside the state or to a licensed FFL. Lots of paperwork. All right. And the fee for each of those transfers is $25. So then we get into the other big one. All right. Section 24-1.10. Manufacture, delivery, or sale of large capacity ammunition feeding devices. All right, let me get into a little bit of the meat of this, okay, because this is kind of important. All right, let me read what it said. In this section, large capacity ammunition feeding devices means a magazine, a belt, drum, feeding strip, or similar device that has a capacity of or that can be readily restored or converted to accept more than 10 rounds of ammunition, or any combination of parts from which a device described in paragraph 1 can be assembled. Large capacity ammunition feeding device does not include an attached tubular device designed to accept and capable of operating only with .22 caliber rimfire ammunition. Large capacity ammunition feeding device does not include a tubular magazine that is contained in a lever action firearm or any device that has been made permanently inoperable. All right, so that, like I said before, it doesn't handle any 22s. Obviously, all the the lever action rifles like your Henrys and stuff like that, it does not cover that, but it covers everything else, your magazines and your belts and your drums and feeding strips, stuff like that, more than 10 rounds. Okay. So you know what I'm talking about there, or you know what they're talking about there. So, except as provided in subsection C, it is unlawful for any person within this state to knowingly manufacture, deliver, sell, purchase, or possess, or cause to be manufactured, deliver, sold, or purchase a large capacity ammunition feeding device. This section does not apply to or affect any of the following: peace officers, local law enforcement, wardens, superintendents, and keepers of prisons, members of the armed forces, or any company that employs armed security officers in the state. Let's see. It goes on. And I don't see, to be honest with you right here, anything that says that if you own these before that you can keep them and you don't have to worry about it. But it also doesn't say anything about having to turn them in if you own them. I don't know. That's a good question. It's almost like there's something missing here because it doesn't say anything. The sale of large capacity ammunition feeding devices to persons authorized under subsections 1 through 5 of this subsection to possess those devices. So you can sell to those people. Sale or rental of large capacity ammunition feeding devices for blank firing assault weapons and 50 caliber rifles to persons authorized or permitted, or both authorized and permitted, to acquire these devices for the purpose of rental, for use solely as props for a motion picture, television, or video production or entertainment. And it says, sentence, a person who knowingly delivers, sells, purchases, or caused to be delivered, sold, or purchased in violation of this section a large capacity ammunition feeding device is a felony for a second or subsequent violation, or for delivery or possession of 2 or more of these devices at the same time. Any other violation of this section is a Class A misdemeanor. I don't know. I don't see where it says that you have to turn them in. I don't see where it says that. How do you prove, when you purchase this? I don't know. That's interesting, unless I'm missing something in reading all of this. But there you go. That is House Bill 5855. going to be known as the Protect Illinois Communities Act. In a nutshell, all 69 pages. So this was part one. What is the bill? So that's what the bill is. Um, the next one in the series on this will be witness slips and how to do witness slips, but you don't need to wait for me. You don't need to wait for me to tell you how to do a witness slip. If you've done a witness slip, it's pretty easy to be done. I would suggest you just go to YouTube and put in how to file or filing a state of Illinois witness slip. There's a bunch of videos that will come up and help you there so we can get this ball rolling. I've already done mine. But right now we're already at 30 minutes on this video and I don't want to go any longer on this one. You can also go to Facebook and go to the Illinois Concealed Carry group. I can't remember if that's a group you have to be invited into or not, but to post, I think it is. But you can just look at it, and it actually lists some videos in there that you can just go to and just watch how to do a witness slip. So there you go. That's it. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Sorry we had to do this one. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We've been throwing a lot of new stuff at you. I know. And sorry, I shook the table. But if you're subscribed and ring that bell, you'll get this information right off the bat. So again, thank you. Thank you, subscribers. I appreciate it. Thank you, all you new subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, everybody that's watching the videos. Pass these along. Please pass them along. As you all know, we've got all kinds of playlists that also talk about training and prepping and stuff like that and other legislation, and how to if you are denied or revoked, what you can do about that. Although some of it's going to change, isn't it? And do your due diligence. Elections have consequences, and this election truly did. So I'm going to say goodbye. And as I always say goodbye, always be aware of your surroundings, no matter where you're at. Please have enough food, whether you have to shelter in place or bug out. Make sure you also have plenty of water, because you can survive a lot longer on water without food than on food without water. So, and please prep like your life depends on it, because it really does. Take care. Thanks a lot. See you next time.